Good morning, fellas.
Yo.
Good morning.
All right, so I got a question for you today.
Okay.
Let's start this morning off right. If Thanos, something I was thinking about last night, if Thanos is Marvel's greatest villain, who is DC's greatest villain?
That new guy, Darkseid is his name, right? Darkseid, or the Y, is it Darkseid?
Darkseid.
Nah, if anything,
Darkseid?
it's got to be
Darkseid.
Warner Brothers.
Ooh. Suits.
Oh, you'd think, but really, it's Rotten Tomatoes.
Aren't they owned by Disney?
Oh, they can't be. We'll look that up. I'll look that up. We'll put it in the show notes.
We'll
down
fact
below.
check that for you.
We'll fact check it.
Welcome back to the Real Heroes Show, everybody. Cory, Nick, and Kevin here. Big time spoiler warning today. We're going to be reviewing episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, entitled The Star Spangled Man. I very much enjoyed this episode. Really looking forward to see what you guys have to say. But before we get into it, if you are new to the channel, please make sure to click on that subscribe button. Also click on that bell, turn on those notifications. That way you never miss another video from us. In this episode, we finally get our friends reunited. Bucky and Sam are back together again, going on adventures, having some fun. Douchebag Captain America is also back, causing tons and tons of trouble for us. We learn more about the Flag Smashers and just have an overall good time. So make sure to stay through to the end of this episode to hear our score out of 10. But first, let's kick things off. Boys, what'd you like about this episode?
What's not to like about this episode, right?
It was a good one.
Oh my gosh, this was fantastic.
Uh,
Go ahead, Nick.
I mean, I was gonna say that the dialogue alone, I think, now that we got to see, Bucky and Sam together more throughout the entire episode, their dialogue and just their chemistry as actors, right? I'm sure they're friends in real life, but just to see again how well they just play off of one another, it's awesome to see. We got to see more of what we've seen in the trailers prior to, right? But it's all kind of coming together. But just some of the other dialogues that we hadn't seen was just very I think special for the sake of the characterization, the character development. So to me, that was a really big deal because obviously, again, we're so not main upfront characters from past movies and whatnot, but now that they're the star of the show, seeing what they can do, seeing how they play off one another. But I think one of my favorite parts between them was when Bucky's trying to sneak into the warehouse or the building, and Sam's like, "I got ready when to do this, man," and he's like, "We can take it. There's only 2 of them," and he's like, "Nah, see, there's more than 2. There's 2, 3, 4, 5." But he says, Sam says something to him about "Oh, I'm Bucky. I went to Wakanda," and he said, I'm the White Panther." And he's like, "It's the White Wolf," and Sam's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, Cory and I were just talking about that offline before we started, and it's nice to see them come back to that, right? Because that was mentioned one time, and kind of forgotten about, but it's kind of like could they transition him into that, because he doesn't really want to be the Winter Soldier anymore, obviously.
Right, exactly.
He's just Bucky Barnes, so maybe they could transition him into the White Wolf moving forward. That'd be pretty dope.
That'd be pretty cool. As a doppelganger of Bucky Barnes.
Are you gonna mention that in every
Sebastian
episode
Stan?
that we
He is. There's no fucking question.
Legit.
It's gonna come up a lot.
Legit, my significant other was like, "Are you gonna cut your hair?" It's very possible.
You got to do the little flip though in the front.
Flip in front.
Oh,
Yeah.
don't cut your hair. Both of you look better with the long hair.
Me? Oh, thank you. My beard is getting nice and long. It's so sweet of you.
Corey wears a wig off screen, guys.
Yeah,
Just
I meant Cory and Sebastian Stan, both of them. Look back. Nick, you can cut your hair. Okay.
All right, fair enough.
Oh my god.
What about you, Kev? What did you like?
So I don't want to steal too much of what I think Corey's going to talk about.
You son of a bitch.
I just do it. Who cares?
Go for it.
So I won't.
Steal it.
So I won't.
I have plenty to go off of.
Stole it from us.
I actually liked the getting to see behind the curtain of Walker a little bit, because, and I had this conversation with my significant other. The military and the U.S. government want a symbol. They want somebody to unite the people and give somebody hope and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessarily a bad thing,
sure,
but it's not what Cap was about. I mean, to him, obviously, to the public, maybe different. But when you see Walker in the locker room, you realize like he's not about all of the other bullshit. That's actually not what he cared about. He cared about coming in and doing a good job. And they didn't just get some Joe Schmo off the street that could fill out the uniform. Like, this man is definitely capable for a normal, unpowered human being.
Right.
You know, you see him with the shield, you see him practicing, like 3 medals of honor, all that kind of stuff. Like, the kid's got his heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
Right. So then when they it was genius, I think, to show that at the beginning, because then by the time you see the conflict between Sam and Bucky, and then Walker and Battlestar, it's hard to pick a side, right? True. It's like on the one hand, it's like I completely understand where you guys are coming from. I miss Cap already too, and he's a fictional character, so I'm with you. And then on the other hand, it's like, just join up with the fucking guy. I mean, 4 is better than 2. He's obviously capable. They've got resources, you know, just do it. So it's not just I wanted to punch this guy in the face feeling. It's more of one of those like really good villainy villains where you're like, okay, I can see where you're, like with Thanos, right? He really thought he was doing the right thing, but you still wanted to kill him. So it's kind of the same feeling. I thought that was just brilliantly done.
Yeah, they lay the groundwork for the whole absolute power corrupts absolutely type shit with him. So it'll be interesting. The corporate synergy using the Good Morning America skit to introduce him to the country was also pretty clever. I thought it was funny. It made me laugh because it was so.
And that marching band song, dude, that sounded straight up like a 70s TV show theme song.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Well, and that was part of the whole like drum line and whatnot's big down in Georgia, which is where his character's from and whatnot. So that was all pretty well done. I thought it was cool. Yeah, it was pretty good. I'm curious to see now, Kevin, if you were going to steal my thunder or not. But it's 2 things for me that sold me on this episode. The first is the introduction of a whole bunch of new characters that expand the Captain America lore from the comics. Which is amazing because Captain America has been a focal point of the MCU since the beginning, right? So it's been at least 10 or 11 years that we've all been looking at Captain America on film. And yet there were like 4 new characters that were introduced in one episode that are part of that series that we had never seen before, which is amazing. And we're going to go into another video later this week that deep dives into some of their comic backgrounds and where that could lead their characters in the show. But the other thing for me was just the racial undertones that they're doing. Like they're not shying away from it, which you know, when you do a show where the whole concept is about a black guy taking up the mantle of Captain America, it can't just be, all right, I'm Cap now, I accept the shield and I'm going to go do the job. Like John Walker can do that because he's a privileged white dude, right? With Sam, it's a much tougher situation because he was born and raised in a country that oppressed his people and still does in the current time, you know, in a lot of different ways. And the struggle that comes along with that, and the way that they're really leaning into that with the whole, oh, you're Black Falcon. Well, what does that make you? Black kid? Like the writing was terrific on all that stuff.
Everything in that neighborhood was great.
And they introduced Isaiah Bradley, which was the Black Cap. You know, and Bucky didn't tell Steve, Bucky didn't tell Sam, you know, all that stuff, like that could really hit home. You know, lineage and legacy is stuff that's really important to folks. And I thought all of that was absolutely terrific. And then the struggle between Bucky and Sam, where Bucky's just furious with him for not taking up the mantle, and that carries throughout the entire episode, and it shows you just how much Bucky cared about Steve, and how much Bucky cares about the Captain America legacy, and how he doesn't want it in the wrong hands. I thought that was excellent. And then also, I'm rambling, but the last thing, in the movies, we know that Bucky's strong. We've seen him catch the shield with one arm. We've seen him fight in war, and he did it again in this episode. But this did a whole lot to show just how powerful Bucky is. When him and Sam start running after those semis, Bucky is running just as fast as Sam is flying. And it was like Steve in Wakanda when him and Black Panther are running towards the War Dogs in Infinity War. It did a really good job to show just how high powered Bucky is, which is very, very
so exciting. Did the whole falling out of an airplane.
Being okay.
he landed like Banner landed in Ragnarok when he expected to be the Hulk. It was just like
So
it's fantastic.
For me, there was a whole lot to like. I want to put it out there to you guys. If you had any gripes, I don't. It's kind of hard to find them from this episode, but
I mean,
if there are any,
I couldn't really find any. You know, again, like, this isn't going to be the same as the comics, you know, and I know people sometimes rag on that. I might be critical of that to some degree, but am I going to fault the episode for it? No. You know, so for the sake of what they've done, they included a lot from the comics, which is great. It's fantastic because it shows they're still pulling from it, which to me, as a fan of the comics, it's great to see, because they're still like paying homage to it, right? So it's like the respect that this wouldn't exist. These shows and movies wouldn't exist if it weren't for the comics. So let's, you know, pay tribute to it. That being said, it's for this episode to be such a step up from the last week's episode. You know, it's hard to find the, you know, cracks. I'm sure if I could, but just from the, you know, 2 times I've watched it, I've been so just excited to see what they included in this, right? That I'm like, I don't know. It's not a perfect episode by any means, but
no.
At the same time, like it's a damn good, great episode, right?
Yeah.
And you know, again, I was gonna just add, like you said, when Bucky was taking on 3 super serum, I don't know, flag smashers, right? Like, and then catching the shield again, like, and then like kind of handing it to Walker, like you could see the look on his face, like just like the disgust.
He did not want to hand that back to him.
Yeah, I was like, keep it, Buck, keep it, damn it.
And then he says at one point, let's just go take the shield and do what we have to do.
And we learned something that leads up to Endgame,
which is
Infinity War, because remember, after Civil War, Cap drops the shield and goes into hiding after the whole Sokovia Accords thing. And then when
that's true,
he says Sharon Carter became a fugitive or whatever, right? After we stole Cap's shield the first time, and I'm like,
which means they had to steal it back the second time.
Yeah.
No, that's true. Good shit. All right.
So I'm like, little pre-Endgame storytelling right there, which I'm like, that's cool, because we don't see Cap with the shield again until you know, under the subway to save Wanda's Vision, right? So to see that in this episode was pretty cool.
I would say, gripe wise, we're already a third of the way through this entire show.
Yeah.
Right. Like, which, as sad as that is, I don't really know where the story is going to go. And usually, by the time you're a third of the way through, you have a pretty good idea, but I am enjoying the ride so much that it doesn't really bother me the way that I think it should have. But I think next episode, we have a little cliffhanger with Zemo. I think they need to, move the plot in high gear and start pushing it forward. But Kevin, is there anything?
I feel like, considering, last episode we were like, they got to put them together, and and they did. They are moving things forward pretty quickly. I mean, we got a lot of reveals in this particular episode. So I feel like it's probably the pace that we're going to see for the rest of the series. My one gripe, by the way, the little therapy session in the police station, as well as it was, as great as the dialogue was, it didn't make sense.
It was shoehorned in a lot of serious stuff, and it felt like that needed to be like a comedic break for some reason.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that it really needed to.
Yeah, there was no reason for her to be able even to tell Sam, you two, that wasn't a request. Like, okay, fuck off. Like, I mean, there was nothing behind that, and there was really nothing riding on it, because the new Cap had just said he doesn't have to do this shit anymore.
Right.
And then he went and did it again anyway. So it's like that part was a little weird, but once they were in there, the dialogue was great. So that's my only gripe.
Speaking to the plot moving very fast, like you just said, John Walker goes from like, I'm clean shaven and doing the right thing at the beginning of the episode to like stubble and stay the hell out of my way by the end of it.
Get in my way. You're gonna lose that fight, bud, right?
Yeah.
Like, we shall see. I don't know what's going to happen with them. I don't know if they're secretly enhanced already, or if they're going to get enhanced by the end of the show, or what. But that's for a different theory video at a different time.
Bucky kills Walker.
Maybe. Who knows?
Ain't that shield, Buck?
Walker, American Ranger.
Wow. Anyway,
that's a wrap.
let's go around the table. Kevin, out of 10, what do you give this one?
I don't remember what I gave the first episode, but the way that I do my ratings is at least, how was this one episode stand alone, right? And for me, I think this one episode gets about an 8.5. We don't have a hell of a lot else to go on at this point. Like you said, I don't think it was 100% perfect, but I do think it was firing on all cylinders, and I'm super optimistic about the next. So 8.5.
Cool. Nick?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. I think I gave last week's a 7.5, maybe 8, but I obviously this is a little bit better, so I'm gonna go with an 8.5 as well.
Okay, I think I gave the pilot an 8.5. I'm gonna move this one to an 8.75. We're allowed to do smaller on our scale. It's my show. I can do whatever the hell I want. 8.75.
It's just not quite a 9 for you.
Well, yeah, and I want to save room because there's still 4 episods left, and if there's anything that like completely drops a mic on us and kills us, then I want to save room for those higher scores. So So I'd say an 8.75, but the show, 2 episodes in, each one has felt like a miniature movie, and I dig that so much. And between the mix of what we got with WandaVision and the deeper, more serious stuff we're getting with this, if this is what Marvel's doing on TV, like, just keep doing it for years.
Absolutely.
I'm in for all of it. So,
and it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen. I think they're onto something. They said that the pilot was the most watched premiere in Disney Plus history, more than Wanda, more than both seasons of Mandalorian, more than Clone Wars. So
it's crazy. Well, I mean, that's what you get when you keep proving yourself over and over again. People go, well, it's gonna be good, so I should watch it.
There are a lot of eyeballs on this show, which is pretty awesome. So cool. So it's gonna wrap things up for this one, guys. We would love for you to leave us a comment below. Let us know what you thought of this episode. What would you give it out of 10? Would you give it an 8.5 or an 8.63? That's right. Use a weird scale. Also, make sure to stay tuned later this week. We're going to have a video where we dive into all of the new characters that were introduced in this episode, their comic backgrounds, and what that might mean for how they fit into the MCU. I believe we're also going to be doing a review of the first 3 episodes of Amazon's new cartoon Invincible, which we're all really looking forward to watching. So in order to catch those videos, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications so that way you never miss another one. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.